Hey sis, each month inside Entrusted Women University, we feature a brand new interview. You can watch the full interview only in Entrusted Women University, but you can check out this snippet right now.
When people want to self-publish, the first thing out of their mouths usually is, I want control. And 99% of the time, you don't even know what you want control of because you don't know what you're doing.
I didn't say it, Dr. Sharon said that.
Right. You want to get the book out there, and there's so much that has to happen as the author, right? Yeah. In advance. I know, for example, when my clients, who I agent, when I submit their proposals to publishers, before the publishers even get back to me, they go to the author's website in advance of looking at a book and so do you know what should be on an author's website?
Hello, Entrusted Women. I am super excited to be coming to you with a new friend. As many of you know, we have been working on writing during the first 3 months of this year. And so I am super excited to have Dr. Sharon Elliott with us today. How are you, Sharon?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And for those of you who are not familiar with Dr. Sharon, I'm going to read her bio for you, and then we're going to just dive into the interview. So from obscurity in Compton, California, to commanding main stages, teaching others how to write their books and understand the Bible, Dr. Sharon Norris Elliott encourages us to live significantly. This inspiring message has driven Sharon to become an award-winning author, editor, agent, engaging speaker, and a licensed minister, y'all. So she's doing all the things. She is the author of 12 books, quite a feat, and associated with several prestigious organizations. And I'm not even going to list them out. I don't even know the acronyms. I don't even know what they all stand for. Sharon is also the co-director of the WCCW conferences. She is founder and CEO of the successful Authorize Me consulting, coaching, and editing firm. And she also has a literary agency with Author, and you can find all of this at authorizeme.net. So welcome, Sharon.
Thank you.
You've been busy.
Yeah, that's a lot of gravy for a small potato. Okay.
Well, that's cute. I haven't heard that. That's a lot of gravy for a small potato. Okay, so can you tell us, how did you get started with writing and speaking and all the things? Was that your major in college, or just how did this all come about?
Not one teacher. And I was a teacher for 37 years. Okay.
What age?
I taught most of the time. I taught high school.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Teenagers are my thing. Yeah.
Well, they need to be somebody's thing.
Okay.
They're not everybody's thing. I was a teacher, Dr. Sharon.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't.
Elementary education for 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I started out in elementary and then kept kind of moving up. And once I hit the high school age, I'm like, these are my people. So it was wonderful. Wonderful. But yeah, not one of my teachers ever picked up on my writing. Wow. And I was writing all the time, writing little stories and poems and songs and all of that. But I just kept at it. And after I went to college, I went to USC for the first 2 years, and then Biola, and I graduated from Biola. And after I graduated from Biola, I was really well, I was already really into the Lord, and
Mhm.
everything. And I started doing Bible studies, these intense Bible studies.
Sure.
And one of my friends looked at one of them on Proverbs 31, right?
Mhm,
Obviously,
mhm,
all
mhm,
good
mhm.
Christian women study Proverbs 31.
Yeah.
And she said, this would be a good book. I thought, oh, hmm.
Hmm.
And then I heard about a Christian Writers Conference,
Yeah.
attended that, and then, yeah, the rest just kind of kept going.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were doing that while you were teaching just on
Yes.
the side?
Yes. I just retired in 2020.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've been doing the writing with a full-time job for all these years,
Mhm.
for
Wow,
like 30 some years now.
that's a lot to manage. I imagine maybe you took your summers and really went in deep on your other passion.
Well, yes. And I did a lot of work late at night. I mean, I had a family, my boys are just in their 30s now. So since they were very little, is when I went to that first writers conference. And so I just did a lot of late night, you know, writing after putting them to bed, reading them their story, right? Putting them to bed. That's when I would write. Yeah.
And did you find it difficult when your friend said, "Oh, this is a book"? What was your journey to then self-publish? Was that a difficult, shift for you to take it from just being something that I had written, to now I'm going to publish it?
Um, well, again, remember now, we're talking 30 some odd years ago.
Mhm.
And so the self publishing world was quite different
Sure.
then. And I originally, with my first book, not all of my books are self published, just the
Mm.
first couple. And with that first book, I started taking it to writers' conferences to have it published by a
Okay.
royalty house.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I kept taking it back and getting information and get sitting, in your appointments, right? And having them to tell me how to make it better, whatever, that I bring it home and redo that and then take it back again.
Yeah.
And so until it got to the place where a the companies were saying, we love this, but
Mhm.
we don't know. That first book was for teens,
Sure.
and we don't know how to sell nonfiction Christian to teenagers.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so that's when I went the self-publishing route, because I knew I had an audience,
Yeah.
and you need a good reason to self-publish. You don't just self-publish because the first person says no. Okay,
Yeah.
um, so we self-published, my husband and I, self-published that first book, and it is still out there, right? What Teenagers in the Bible is the book. And then by then I was speaking at writers conferences, I was teaching, and still always with the goal of being royalty published,
Yeah.
right?
And I want to kind of backtrack a little bit because I mean, 30 years is a long time in the industry. And I feel fortunate to be, doing what I'm doing during this time period.
Mhm.
But can you tell us what was the landscape like 30 years ago for people of color?
Well, it's a very interesting landscape.
Okay, that's quite a lead in. Okay.
Yes. Um, I do remember, um, first of all, I am thankful for every writers conference, Christian writers conference I attended. Many of those conferences, I was the only African American person
Wow.
at the conference.
Wow.
And the I'll never forget submitting a proposal to a publishing house, or to the editor, and him saying to me before he even looked at my proposal, saying to me, "Oh, great, we have an African American imprint."
Wow.
And I thought, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What is that supposed to mean to me? Right?
Mhm.
Because, first of all, I don't consider myself a writer of African American books.
Right.
I write Christian books.
Right.
And secondly, I questioned and sat on many panels at conferences after that to ask, what do you think is a Black book?
Oof. Whew.
You need to let me know what that is, because maybe, right? Maybe I can write you a Black book. I don't know what that is. And
What did they say?
well, they didn't know what that was either.
Obviously.
Right. And so the idea that publishers at that time, and of course, I'm painting with a very wide brush,
Sure.
but I was there. Okay, so
That's your
publishers,
experience. That's
yeah,
your
publishers
experience.
at that time wanted to have Black people to write, but they also had a conception that they weren't sure of
Mhm.
as to what those books would be like. Now, it would be, I guess, a little easier for novelists, because, okay, if you have Black characters,
Mhm.
then maybe that's a Black book.
Right.
However, I have my own feelings about that. What we just went through in 2019 and 2020, racially in
Mhm.
every area. Um, I don't think that Black people and white people's information in books should matter, right?
Mhm.
A great novel is a great novel.
Right.
And so don't don't start another category
Right.
for Black, but that would just be like the Oscars, right?
Right.
Like, okay, we're gonna have a new category now, right? For movies that have
Mhm.
Black people in them. Wait, what?
Mhm.
Okay, so
Mhm.
that's part of the battle that I'm trying to fight now, um, with the position I'm in now in the industry, as an agent, um, and a voice at the table,
Right.
to say these books are maybe they're written by Black women, right? Or people of color, but I'm specifically, you know, uh, talking about uh, people, Black people, okay,
Sure.
ADOS people, American descendants of slaves people.
Mhm. Let me clarify. Yeah.
Clarify,
Mhm.
that what we write can easily be understood and
Sure.
appreciated
Mhm.
and applauded and learned from, if that is even a phrase to use,
Mhm.
by
Mhm.
all people.
Yeah. Mhm.
However, it's not going to sound exactly
Right.
like all those other books,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
so please don't whitewash them.
Mhm.
Um, please don't take my phraseology
Mhm.
and say, well, let's try to say it like this. Well, no,
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with it grammatically. There's nothing wrong with it. We can understand what's being said. Um, so that is a huge,
Challenge.
good. That's a good word.
Yeah. I've done enough interviews to know that, and I think also to, you know, I'll probably date this video by saying just bringing up critical race theory, and just wanting wanting people to understand the people who have arguments with critical race theory that there's not one narrative that is the narrative
Mm-hmm.
for everyone.
Right.
You know, everyone has their own lens through which they view and experience life.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're Latino or, Asian, Native American, Black, uh, African, Caribbean, whatever your lens is. And for people, we are all better, have something to gain
Mm-hmm.
from
Okay.
another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You froze over a couple of seconds there. So.
Oh, well, I was just saying
Mhm.
that we're all better when we realize there's something to be gained
Yes.
from another people group's experience.
Yes.
So it's going to be a challenge,
Yes.
probably until Jesus comes back.
Right.
Unfortunately, Jesus, like, would y'all just get it together?
Exactly.
Together.
Right. Because we don't have separate neighborhoods up here. Okay.
Right, right. Y'all all gonna be together.
Right.
Okay, so what was the process back then to get self-published? You self-published the first book.
Yes. And
What was
I
the
I, I
process?
basically partnered with a company, that helps you to do that. And if you're going to self-publish, that's what I highly recommend. That you find, a publishing outfit that has everything and does everything that a royalty publishing house would do. They have the all the expertise there to help you, and basically you purchase a package,
Sure.
right? Um, but find someone, do your research. There are tons of shysters out there. So do your research, ask someone who is in the business, like me, right? Someone uh, who can direct you to companies that will help you do all those things.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
And you suggest that as opposed to just doing it yourself and
Right.
drinking the book on Amazon. Why so?
Right. Well, because in most cases, we are not experts at everything. We're not
Right.
experts at cover design. We're not experts at how the interior design ought to look, how much white space there should be on a page. For example, I can open a most books and say, "Yep, self-published." I mean, it from how you should indent the paragraph. Should there be a space between each paragraph, and the paragraphs are block, rather than indented. The size of the font
Yeah.
for the length of the book. Just there's so many things that we don't know as, uh, we're not professionals in those areas.
Yeah.
And then the edit itself, right? Everybody needs an editor.
Hmm.
Like you said, I've written 12 books and I need an editor, right? All the
Hmm.
time. So the edit is important. Um, the back cover copy. What should be on the back cover copy? What should be on that copy on Amazon? When you open up Amazon and you read the description of the book, easy to tell that this was
Hmm.
not done, by the professional who knows what that description ought to be and what it ought to say.
Hmm.
So that's why, um, yeah. And then see what happens is if you do it by yourself and you start pulling, okay, so I'm going to find somebody who is a professional at this, and find somebody. You talk about the numbers adding up, the dollars adding up, right? Whereas when you can go to a company who has all these things in place for you,
Right.
and can help you. You still have a lot of say. And that's one thing that I find, Kia, when people want to self-publish, the first thing out of their mouths usually is, I want control. And 99% of the time, you don't even know what you want control of, because you don't know what you're doing.
I didn't say it. Dr. Sharon said that.
Right. You want to get the book out there, and there's so much that has to happen as the author, right? Yeah. In advance. I know, for example, when my clients, who I agent, when I submit their proposals to publishers, before the publishers even get back to me, they go to the author's website in advance of looking at a book and so do you know what should be on an author's website?
I hope you enjoyed that interview snippet, and I want you to be sure and check out Entrusted Women University by visiting membership.entrustedwomen.com to see the interviews in their entirety. And join us next week for more content to help you on your writing and speaking